Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Please remain standing for the mounting of the catafalque guard and the national anthems of the Republic of Türkiye and New Zealand.
Present.
Please be seated. I ngā mana, I ngā reo, I ngā rau rangatiratanga mā, tēnā tātou katoa. Hepenizi selam liorum. Uzaili Claire, hier, yil, bizi burada misafir iden. Turk halkana teşekkür ediyorum. Bizlere ve Yeni Zelanda halkına gösterdiniz. Özen ve konukseverlik için. Shukranlarımızı sunuyorum. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and greetings to you all. I am Mitchell Alexander, and it is an honour to be the Master of Ceremonies for the New Zealand National Service here at Chunuk Bair. Can I acknowledge and welcome you all, and as I said in Turkish, a particular acknowledgement to the people of Türkiye, who continue to graciously welcome us here every year. In particular to this place of Chunuk Bair, which is so special to Türkiye. Thank you for the care and hospitality you bestow on us and the people of New Zealand. Teşekkürler. Can I also acknowledge Burak Gundawan, the Country Director for the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, who recently received a significant Commonwealth War Graves Commission award for the work that he and his staff have done maintaining all of our graves here at this site. Nō reira, nō mai haere mai, nō mai piki mai, mo mai whakatau mai. Distinguished guests, veterans, ladies and gentlemen, welcome and greetings to you all. As we gather here today to remember all those who served and died 109 years ago, the imposing landscape of the Gallipoli Peninsula is a reminder of the astonishing courage of those from all nations who fought here. It will forever be a place of mourning and reflection, which recognises the past and embraces the present. This morning, we will do just that.
E ngā mana, e ngā iwi, o ngā hue whā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. To the leaders and the peoples brought here by the four winds, welcome, welcome, welcome to you all. It is my privilege to welcome you to the New Zealand National Service at Chunuk Bair. I acknowledge the presence of the Right Honourable Winston Peters, New Zealand's Deputy Prime Minister. The Honourable Richard Marles, Deputy Prime Minister of Australia. Honourable Natalie Suleiman, Minister for Veterans Affairs in the state of Victoria. Mr. Murat Cicek, District Governor for Etiabat. Mr. Ismail Kashdamir, President of the Gallipoli Historical Sites Directorate. Lieutenant General John Fruin, Chief of Joint Capabilities in the Australian Defence Force. Rear Admiral David Proctor, New Zealand's Chief of Navy. And Vice Admiral Peter Hudson for the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. I acknowledge the government of the Republic of Türkiye for letting us once again gather here to commemorate our fallen warriors who rest in Turkish soil. I welcome ambassadors, members of the diplomatic corps and the military, other members of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, members of the Turkish Armed Forces, ladies and gentlemen. Kia ora. The 25th of April holds deep significance for all New Zealanders. It represents the bravery and sacrifice of our soldiers who fought in World War I and beyond. It's a day to honour the Anzac spirit, which embodies courage, mateship, and resilience. And our MC has already alluded to how that has manifested this past week between the Australian and New Zealand Defence Forces and allowing us to commemorate in this way. It's a time to reflect on the sacrifices made by our ancestors and to remember the lives lost in service to one's country. It's also a reminder of the importance of peace and unity, and a call to uphold the values that our servicemen and women fought to protect. Anzac Day is a cherished tradition that unites us as a nation and connects us to our past. It also connects indelibly the histories of the Anzacs with that of Türkiye. Our shared history, played out on the battlefields of Chunuk Bair, forged a bond of respect and understanding between our nations. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's heartfelt message epitomizes that connection, recognizing our fallen soldiers as sons of both countries, fostering lasting peace and camaraderie. As we reflect on those who made the ultimate sacrifice, we also think of the innocent civilians, the mothers, the children, whose lives are ruined in the wake of conflict, and we urge peace. Let us honor the sacrifice of our Anzacs by committing to peace and understanding and ensuring that their legacy is one of unity and harmony for generations to come.
The honour of delivering this year's commemorative address is with the Right Honourable Winston Peters, Deputy Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Distinguished guests, it's an honour to return once again to this site which, as the resting place for so many of our war dead, has become a sacrosanct place for generations of New Zealanders. Our presence here and at the other special places of Gallipoli is made possible by the unwavering generosity and friendship shown to us by the Turkish government and its people. We thank Governor Atkas of Chunuk Bair for his unwavering support. We thank Mr. Ismail Kashmir of the Gallipoli Historical Site Directorate for his outstanding efforts to ensure Gallipoli's natural and historic sites are preserved for future generations. Distinguished guests, on this day in April 1915, troops of the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps began landing at the beach at Anzac Cove. The first wave of Australian troops landed on the beach just before dawn, and the New Zealand infantry followed later in the morning. By the end of the day, more than 100 New Zealand troops had been killed. And what was meant to be a swift victory turned into 8 months of sheer hell. Over the course of the battle, some 8,556 New Zealanders would go on to join the fight. Of those brave men, 2,515 were killed in action and 4,752 were wounded. Another 206 died of disease and other causes. For a country of only 1 million people at the time, there was barely a family in New Zealand that was not impacted. Shock and grief spread across New Zealand, and the memory of that is now part of our national identity. It was a tragedy made more agonizing by the youth of those who died here. Although some were older men with families, the average age was only 25 years. Every loss represented a life unlived and potential unrealized, or a family left fatherless. Among those thousands of men who fought here was a carpenter from Huntly, a town south of Auckland. Private Robert James Capstick of the Auckland Infantry Battalion. Capstick's letters home include an account of the landing battle and the counterattack by the 57th Regiment. His first-hand account brings the reader right into the middle of the battle. To quote him, "The scrub is a kind of inkweed about 5 or 6 feet high, so we could not see, but the bullets tore through it all the same. I raised myself higher for a better view when I seemed to feel something go right through my body. I did not feel it go in much. It was too quick. I had got it through the lungs. Someone gave the word to retire, but I wanted to stay where I was, as it hurt me and made me choke when I moved. One chap put me on my feet and helped me to struggle along. Others had to be carried." Ladies and gentlemen, almost miraculously, Capstick was able to reach the beach and then a hospital in Egypt. Perhaps even more astonishingly, he made a rapid recovery and returned to Gallipoli within just a few weeks. Distinguished guests, just below where we stand today lies the names of 849 men inscribed on the Chunuk Bair New Zealand Memorial to the missing. One of those names, alas, is Private Robert James Capstick. He was killed on the ridge line behind us on 7 August 1915. Robert was just 23 years of age. His death underlines the appalling waste of young and promising lives caused by conflict and war. It was not the only loss suffered by the devastated family. Robert's brother, Arthur, wounded at Passchendaele, died at Base Hospital in France in October 1917. Arthur was 24 years of age. Today, as we look across the Aegean Sea, a sight those 8,556 New Zealanders saw in their service at Gallipoli, we remember all those who fought here, the Anzacs, the many soldiers from across the British Empire, the Commonwealth and France, and the Turkish soldiers who fought so bravely in the defence of their homeland. We honour their sacrifice, their service, and their extraordinary courage. On the other side of this peninsula, across our memorial to the missing are the Chunuk Bair Cemetery, is the Dardanelles, a sight only seen briefly by soldiers on 8th of August 1915. The struggle for the heights of Chunuk Bair was such that the people of a young nation from the uttermost ends of the earth wanted to commemorate New Zealanders who fought and died here in the service of their country. And so as we gather here today at Chunuk Bair, on this hallowed ground, we stand here at a time when one could be forgiven for thinking that we have forgotten about the unspeakable human suffering that conflict and war inflicts upon people. But it's up to us all to ensure that the sacrifices of Gallipoli and those of conflicts past and present are not forgotten, and that reconciliation between former foes is possible. We remember those famous words of reconciliation from Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, words that can be repeated over and over again because of their sincerity and insight. He was a divisional commander who would go on to found the Turkish Republic. Those heroes that shed their blood and lives and lost their lives, you are now lying in the soil of a friendly country. Therefore, rest in peace. Ladies and gentlemen, such forgiveness and generosity surely bespeaks the lessons that we must take away from here today.
Professor Kingsley Beard will now deliver the reflection. Professor Beard sculptured the three pieces of headwear pictured in the order of service. He also was responsible for the design of the New Zealand tomb of the unknown warrior at the National War Memorial of New Zealand, the Australia-New Zealand Memorial on Anzac Parade in Canberra, Australia, and the Te Korowai Rangimarie, Cloak of Peace at the Nagasaki Peace Park in Japan.
Merhaba. Tēnā koutou katoa. Good morning. Just. The stories of Anzac and Gallipoli, or Gallipoli, are part of our collective memory, commemorating the loss of our compatriots and the hope that others will not have their lives cut short by the violence of war, draws us all together at this sacred site. I'm an artist, and the desire to recognize and remember the sacrifice of those who served their nations has inspired my creative practice for many years. The Order of Service booklet and the Spirit of Place video prior to the dawn service feature three of my bronze memorial sculptures cast from First World War headgear: a Turkish kabalak, an Australian slouch hat, and a New Zealand lemon squeezer. While the scope of intended meanings of these sculptures is broad, at their centre is remembrance, the shared history of the three nations and the spirit of this place. The sculptures belong to a body of works titled the Odyssey Collection. The collection's name is linked to this part of the world by the tales of heroism written by Homer some 2,500 years ago and located across the Chunuk Strait at Troia. In addition, the bronze from which they are made speaks to the material use, the martial use of this material in that ancient world, particularly to make helmets. All three sculptures embody the places from where the men of Türkiye, Australia, and New Zealand came. The bronze headgear can be seen as landforms on which historical events were played out, an imposing physical terrain to be captured, a homeland to be defended, and a sacred monolith of one's native land. The bronze Turkish kabalak is titled Gallipoli. Its crown, with dimpled, textured surface, can be seen as a natural landform rising to a summit from surrounding terrain. Steep slopes and high ground to be defended. The kabalak's flaps, wound around the crown, form ridges and valleys, all defensive positions to be held. Birth of a Nation is cast from the mould of an Australian slouch hat. It represents memorials at home and overseas. The side profile of the hat's crown is reminiscent of the sacred red rock mass of Uluru in Australia's Northern Territory. Ascending above and setting below the characteristically upturned brim is a rising sun badge. Finally, the sculpture Gallipoli seeks to conflate ancient Greek and New Zealand martial mythology located in the Aegean. The bronze lemon squeezer hat might be interpreted as being physically representative of the Gallipoli Peninsula, of flat plains and razor-sharp hills. Lieutenant Colonel William Malone, commander of the Wellington Infantry at Chunuk Bair, is said to have adopted the lemon squeezer because its outline reminded him of Taranaki, the mountain near where he lived. The badge of the Taranaki Rifles depicts the mountain. Remembrance takes many forms, and these sculptures will inevitably be interpreted in different ways. But central to their intended meanings is remembrance of all those who fought here, the impact of their experiences on them, their families, and their nations. Tūshekulu, ngā mihi nui, thank you.
I now invite Rear Admiral David Proctor, Chief of the Royal New Zealand Navy, to deliver the reading.
Hei mauri ora.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ki te atua, tēnā koe. Kia Papatūānuku, kia Ranganui, tēnā kōrua. Kia Tangaroa, tēnā koe e hoa. Ti hunga mate, ki te hunga mate, ti hunga ora, ki te hunga ora. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko David Proctor toko ingoa, nō reira, he hera mana ahau. I welcomed you as I approached dais. I then acknowledged traditional gods and then the one true God. I outlined who I am, and I concluded by saying, I am a sailor. Excellencies, ministers, colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, veterans, and especially our gracious and generous hosts, good afternoon, and thank you for joining here today for this most important occasion to remember. Each name chiselled in the stone here on the Gallipoli Peninsula, in the many, many places, represents a life abruptly ended, a family grieving at home, and a loss felt across continents and across decades, the ages indeed. There are 850 New Zealanders commemorated here at Chunuk Bair, and I am so ever mindful of the many, many mimechek that lie alongside them on the hallowed ground upon which we have the privilege to stand. In today's world of instant communication, it is hard for us to imagine waiting for weeks or months to hear of news of loved ones who have been in danger on foreign shores or even here on their homeland. The fierce fighting, constant shelling, and atrocious living conditions these men were asked to endure was echoed half the world away. Apprehensive families were waiting for news, dreading a knock from a postman bearing a telegram, or reading a familiar name in the newspaper, often very, very late as they were reading casualty lists. Many households had multiple family members serving overseas, and we've heard that story countless times today. Fathers, sons, brothers, uncles. One such family was that of Private David Shaw Bailey from Dargaville. The Bailey family were no strangers to tragedy. David's father, John, drowned while attempting to rescue his grandmother in a boat that capsized in the estuary of the Waitemata Harbour in Auckland in 1893. Their father's death was only a few weeks after David and his twin brother John were born. John's wife Agnes was left to raise their 8 children on her own. The twin boys were known as Jack and Wee Davy. Wee Davy was 21 years old when he enlisted in the Auckland Infantry Battalion and embarked with the main body of the New Zealand Expeditionary Force. His twin brother Jack volunteered shortly afterwards, though he became seriously ill and had to be hospitalised en route to Gallipoli. In the days that followed the landing at Anzac Cove, David received a bullet wound to his abdomen and died of his wounds 1 week later. Wee Davy was buried at sea and is commemorated on the Lion Pone Memorial to the missing. Over the subsequent months, as losses mounted, successive waves of reinforcements were assembled in New Zealand. The men who volunteered had read the newspaper reports and they had seen the casualty figures. They knew the danger they would face, but they put their names forward anyway. David's brother Jack rejoined his unit in early 1916 after a long recovery. He was sent along with the rest of the New Zealand Division to the Western Front. On the anniversary of Wee Davy's death in May 1916, a memorial message for him was published in the New Zealand Herald by his family. It read, "Though no sculptured monument can mark their resting place, their deeds have raised a monument that time cannot efface." Only 2 months later, Agnes, Wee Davy's mum, Jack's mum, received the devastating news that Jack had been killed in action at Armentières in northern France. The story of tragic loss I described was experienced by families in all countries represented here today. The United Kingdom, Ireland, France and her territories, Canada and the other Commonwealth countries, and of course my Anzac brothers from Australia. And I do not forget the heroes and martyrs of Türkiye and their sacrifice. All of us lost sons here on this whenua, this land. I will not forget them. You will not forget them. We must not forget them. Ka maumahara tono tātou ki a rātou. We will remember them.
Going home, I invite you to pray with me.
He honore, he kioria ki te atua, ongorongo ki te whenua. God, we give thanks that we are able to stand here to honour those who gave their all in the struggle for peace. And Father, we acknowledge the enduring peace between our countries that enables this significant event. Lord, we pray for all those who fell here, wherever they may lay, that they may know we remember them today and always. Father, remind us that while they may be from another time and remain only in the shadows of our memories, they are part of us. They were ordinary Kiwis with aspirations and dreams of a future. Many would have seen the sunrise over the Ruahinis. Some would have fished in the Waitemata Harbour. And many left their DNA on the shooting mounds at the Trentham Rifle Range. They put their plans on hold and left to serve their country, and now lay here, far from home. God, we pause and give thanks for these ordinary Kiwis and the sacrifice they made. While we remember our past, we pray for our future, for peace. Peace between nations, peace between people, peace between families, and for peace within. Father, may the spirit of peace we feel in this place spread to envelop places where conflict reigns. We ask that, God, you will send your spirit of peace and compassion. Let love and forgiveness reign in the hearts of all, that the spirit of hate and strife would find no place in this world. God of peace, hear our prayers.
Ladies and gentlemen, wreaths will now be laid by official representatives. To reiterate our respect and gratitude to the people of Türkiye for continuing to welcome our presence here every year. The first wreath will be laid by Murat Çiçek on behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of Türkiye.
Çelenk kıtası, çelenk yerine uygun adım, marş! Kıt adım. Çelenk kıtası, yerlerinize uygun adım, marş!
To acknowledge the enduring bond between New Zealand and Australia, I now invite the Right Honourable Winston Peters and the Honourable Richard Marles to lay their wreaths on behalf of the people of New Zealand and Australia. Rear Admiral David Proctor and Lieutenant General John Fruin, on behalf of the New Zealand Defence Force and Australian Defence Force. Sir Wayne Shelford and Khalil Fegan, on behalf of all New Zealand and Australian veterans and their families. The representatives of the Republic of Austria and Canada. Representatives of the French Republic and Hungary. The representatives of the Republic of India and Ireland. The representatives of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan and the Republic of South Africa. The representatives of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Sir Peter Hudson, on behalf of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the commemoration.
E kore rātou e kaumātua tia. Pēnei ia tātou, kua māhue nei. E kore hoki, e noi kore. Aha koa, pēhe i ngā āhuatanga o te wā, i te hekinga atu o tērā. Tai no ki te aranga mai i te ata. Ka maumahara tonu tātou ki a rātou, ka maumahara tonu tātou ki a rātou.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
Catapult guard, jump! Catapult guard, present!
Please be seated. I now invite New Zealand Defence Force Chaplain Roger Black to offer the final blessing.
Gracious God, we commit ourselves to the enduring importance of peace and remembrance. May we give generously of ourselves to build a better world, and may we live peacefully in the knowledge that peace itself has a price. May the blessing of God who loves us be with us and those we love, today and always. He te ingoa, o te mātua, o te tama, o te wairua tapu. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the dismounting of the catafalque guard.
Catafalque guard. Inwards. Turn. Catafalque guard. Quick.
Please be seated. Bu kutsal alanda anma töreni düzenleme. Fırsatına bize tanıyan Türk halkına tekrar teşekkür ederiz. Minnettarız. Katiyaki maku I tinewa. Noreira tina koto. Tina koto. Tina tato kato. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the New Zealand Memorial Service here at Chunuk Bair on the Gallipoli Peninsula. Please remain seated while the official representatives depart.